Hello humans, Dr. Tux here. Today we're examining one of the most curious and strangely comforting behaviors in domestic cats. Why do cats need blankets? If you live with a cat, you've probably seen this. Your cat climbs onto a soft surface, a blanket, a pillow, or even your lap, and begins rhythmically pushing its paws in and out. Sometimes they purr, sometimes they look completely relaxed, and sometimes they use their claws. This behavior is often called making biscuits. But what exactly is your cat doing? And more importantly, why do they do it? To answer this, we need to look at kneading through the lens of biology, development, and evolutionary history. Scientists who study animal behavior often work in fields like ethology, where even small everyday behaviors can reveal something important about how animals evolved. And kneading turns out to be a perfect example of that. Reason number one, a behavior from kittenhood. To understand kneading, we need to go back to the very beginning of a cat's life. When kittens are very young, they depend entirely on their mother for survival. During nursing, kittens use their front paws to rhythmically press against their mother's abdomen. This motion stimulates milk flow. At the same time, the kitten is feeding, warm, safe, and physically close to its mother. This creates a powerful association between the kneading motion and comfort and security. From a biological perspective, this is an example of early developmental learning. During early life, the brain forms strong connections between physical actions and emotional states. Because kneading happens during one of the most important survival behaviors, feeding, it becomes deeply embedded in the nervous system. This type of learning occurs during what scientists call critical periods, when experiences have a lasting impact on behavior. As the cat grows older, the original purpose of kneading disappears, but the behavior itself remains. So when your adult cat needs a blanket, it may be expressing a behavior that first developed during early life, long before it ever met you. Reason number two, comfort and self-soothing. Because kneading is associated with early life experiences, it often appears when a cat feels safe and relaxed. You may notice that cats knead when they are settling down to sleep, lying on soft surfaces, sitting on their owner, or purring. In these situations, kneading may function as a form of self-soothing behavior. In mammals, repetitive movements can help regulate emotional states by activating calming pathways in the nervous system. These behaviors are sometimes called comfort behaviors. Humans show similar patterns: tapping fingers, rocking slightly, repetitive movements when relaxed or stressed. For cats, kneading may serve a similar function, reinforcing a sense of calm, safety, and familiarity. Reason number three, scent marking. Kneading is not only about comfort, it also has a communication function. Cats have scent glands in their paws. When a cat presses its paws into a surface, it can leave behind pheromones, which are chemical signals used for communication. Unlike humans, who rely heavily on vision, cats experience much of their environment through scent. These chemical signals help create a familiar scent map of their surroundings. From a biological perspective, this allows cats to mark territory, identify safe spaces, and reinforce familiarity. So, when your cat needs a blanket or your lap, it may also be marking that surface. In simple terms, this place is safe. This belongs to me. Reason number four, preparing a resting spot. Another explanation comes from the behavior of wild cats and their ancestors. In natural environments, animals rarely lie down without preparation. They often press down grass, adjust surfaces, and clear debris. This helps create a stable, hidden, and comfortable resting place. For small predators, choosing a safe resting location is important for survival. Some researchers believe kneading may be a modern version of this instinct. Even though your cat no longer needs to flatten grass, the underlying behavior may still be present. So when your cat needs a blanket, it may be performing an instinctive version of preparing a safe place to rest. Why cats prefer soft surfaces? Cats tend to need soft materials such as blankets, pillows, clothing, or your lap. This likely connects to both early life experiences and sensory biology. Cats have highly sensitive nerve endings in their paws, allowing them to detect subtle textures. Soft surfaces provide both. physical comfort, and sensory feedback. These textures may resemble the sensation of their mother's body during nursing, reinforcing the association between kneading and comfort. Why some cats use their claws. Kneading involves the same motor pattern cats use to extend and retract their claws. In natural contexts, this movement is also used for gripping surfaces, stretching muscles, and interacting with objects. So, claw extension is simply part of the natural movement pattern. Why some cats combine. Kneading with mating behavior. Some cats, particularly male cats, may combine kneading with movements that resemble mating behavior. For example, a cat may bite a blanket or clothing, grip the surface, or make rhythmic hip movements. This can look very similar to mating behavior. However, in many cases, it is not actually about mating. In animal behavior science, many actions are controlled by fixed action patterns, instinctive movement sequences triggered under certain conditions. Kneading, nursing, and mating behaviors all share similar features. Rhythmic motion, physical contact, and repetitive motor patterns. Because these behaviors are neurologically related, they can sometimes overlap. The brain may activate multiple instinct systems at the same time, especially during emotionally intense states like comfort, excitement, or stimulation. In intact male cats, hormones such as testosterone can increase the likelihood of this behavior. But it can also occur in neutered cats, which suggests it is not purely sexual. Instead, it is best understood as a combination of early developmental behavior, instinctive motor patterns, and overlapping neural pathways. Why some cats knead on you. Specifically, many cats prefer to knead directly on their owner. This is not random. Humans provide a combination of warmth, softness, familiar scent, and social comfort. From the cat's perspective, this makes you an ideal surface. So when your cat needs your lap, it is not only expressing instinct, it is also interacting with one of the most important elements in its environment, you. Why some cats need more than others. Not all cats need in the same way. Some cats need frequently, while others rarely do. This variation may be influenced by early life experiences, personality, environment, or learned associations. Cats that strongly associate kneading with comfort may perform the behavior more often. Why humans often misinterpret kneading. Humans often interpret kneading as a sign of affection, and while kneading usually occurs in positive situations, the behavior itself is not necessarily love in a human sense. In animal behavior science, actions are typically explained by their function, not by human-like intention. Kneading is better understood as a combination of developmental behavior, emotional regulation, scent communication, and instinctive movement patterns. So, when your cat needs a blanket or your lap, it is not performing a random action. It is expressing a behavior shaped by early development, nervous system regulation, communication through scent, and evolutionary history. A simple action with a surprisingly complex biological origin.